Welcome dear students in the second video of laws of motion. In this video I am going to explain about Newton's first law of motion and inertia. As we know, if a body is at rest, it cannot start moving until or unless a force is applied on it. Similarly, if a body is in motion, it will not come to rest by self. That means it will continue its motion if no any force applied on the body. On these observations, Newton forms a law known as the Newton's first law of motion. So let us see the statement of Newton's first law. According to Newton's first law, a body continues to be in its state of rest or of uniform motion along a straight line unless it is acted upon by some external force to change the state. The meaning is saying that if a body is at rest, it will remain in the rest, and if it is in the state of motion, it will remain moving in the same direction with same speed unless an external force is applied on it. So this is the statement of Newton's first law. This Newton's first law, if we will see, it has two parts. The first part, it says a body cannot start by self, or a body cannot come to the position of or a state of rest by self. This part explains about a term known as inertia, and the second part says that the change in state of rest or motion can take place only with the application of force. So the second part explains or defines the definition of force. So let us first define force. So we can say that Newton's first law defines force and inertia. So I am going to explain force from Newton's first law. As I said, until and unless a force is not applied on a body, the body will not start moving or it will not come in the position of rest. So we can say force is an external effort which, when acts on a body, it moves or tries to move. That means from its position of rest, it comes in the position of motion, or it stops or tries to stop the body, or it may change the direction. So that is the force. The first part defines the inertia. So what is inertia? The inability of a body to change by itself its state of rest or state of uniform motion along a straight line is called the inertia of the body. Inertia of a body is measured by the mass of the body. Heavier the body, greater is the force required to change its state. Hence, greater its inertia. Reverse also we can say, for a lighter body, small force is required to change its state, and hence smaller will be the inertia. Now we can say types of inertia. So there are three types of inertia. The first one is known as the inertia of rest. Inertia of rest. Second, inertia of motion. And third, inertia of direction. Let us see one by one with examples. So first I am going to explain about inertia of rest. It is the inability of a body to change by itself its state of rest. It means a body at rest remains at rest and cannot start moving on its own. For example, when a bus or train starts suddenly, the passengers sitting inside tends to fall backward. This is so because the lower part of his body starts moving with the bus or train, but the upper part tries to remain at rest due to the inertia of rest. Similarly, another example I am going to say, when a horse starts suddenly, the rider tends to fall backward on account of inertia of rest. Next, when we shake the branches of mango trees, if it contains the mangoes fall down due to inertia of rest. Another example, so many examples are there. The dust particles in durries fall down when we beat the durry with a stick due to inertia of rest. So these are some examples of inertia of rest. Similarly, we can define inertia of motion. It is the inability of a body to change by itself its state of motion in uniform motion in a straight line. If a body is moving in a straight line with uniform motion, it will not comes to rest by self, or it cannot, the speed will not decrease or not increase. It will move along with the same speed. That motion will be continue. That is inertia of motion. Some examples of inertia of motion: when a bus or a train stops suddenly, the passengers sitting inside tends to fall forward. The reason behind that, the lower part of the body comes to rest with the bus or train, but the upper part, due to inertia of motion, tries to continue its motion, and that's why we tends to fall forward. Another example for this: whenever we try to come down from a moving train or a bus, we tend to fall forward. The reason is same, due to inertia of motion. Next, an athlete often runs before taking the long jump. The reason behind that, by running, he brings his body, his entire body, in the state of motion. When the body is in motion, it becomes easier to take a long jump. Next example, a ball thrown vertically upwards by a person in a moving train comes back to his hand. Why it happens? It is also happens due to inertia of motion. At first, the person and the ball both were in motion along with the train. As he throws the ball upside, the ball continue its motion and move forwards. At the same time, the person was also in motion and he is also moving forward. That's why the ball again come back in his hand. So these are the examples of inertia of motion. Now next we will see, that is inertia of direction. So what is inertia of direction? It is the inability of a body to change its direction of motion. A body cannot change its direction by itself. For example, when a car rounds a curved path, the passenger sitting inside the car tends to thrown outwards. This is because on the curved road, the car turns, direction changes, but the person sitting inside try to maintain their initial direction. That's why it seems to be thrown outwards. Next example of inertia of direction. Umbrella protect us from a rain because of this inertia of direction. How it happens? How this property inertia of direction helps to protect us from rain? When we open the umbrella, the raindrops are coming from upside. It cannot change its direction. In the path of that raindrop, we are keeping the umbrella, and raindrops cannot change their direction of motion. So this property helps us to protect us from the rain by an umbrella. So this is all about inertia and their types. And this inertia, as I said at the first, we get two definitions from Newton's first law of motion. One is inertia and another is the force. In next video, I will explain about linear momentum and Newton's second law of motion. Thank you, students. Thank you for watching.